All right, hi, my name is Lisa Fabiny. I don't have much of an introduction. I work at Sense Foundation as an admin. But yeah, this is all about my kind of epic 8-year journey to health. So let's start with how it all began. High school, that's my high school. I was a normal kid, did a lot of activities, and then sometime around my junior year, I started getting horribly, miserably ill. Every time I ate something, in fact, I would eat something, I would throw up, or I would have diarrhea, or I'd be in the fetal position for hours. I had no idea what it was, so I started eliminating things. So first I eliminated fast food. Helped a little bit for about a week, and then I had to start eliminating more. So sodas, sauces, soups, any kind of fat, anything preserved or canned. So you're asking what's left. Basically plain chicken and fresh fruits and vegetables or steamed vegetables. And I did that for about the next 8 years. That's about what I ate. Yeah. So of course, in the experts, right? Transformation into a guinea pig. Dave talks about that like it's a good thing. It is when you're the guinea pig for yourself, not for various specialists who think they know what's best for you. I went through 7 gastroenterologists in 6 years, none of which really helped. So they did all of these things, endoscopies, gastric emptying studies. I was radioactive for about 2 weeks at one point. Yeah, I had to carry around a card, it was great. So what did they think was wrong with me? Everything from Crohn's disease to acid reflux, gallbladder stones, parasites, anorexia, bulimia, psychological disorders. After about 5 years into this, they thought I was crazy. Worst part is, I thought they were right. I actually believed them. And then I had a stabbing pain in my gut one day during class, started screaming. They rushed me to the hospital because I thought my appendix had burst. Nope, everything was fine. They sent me home. They're like, you're perfectly okay. And then I didn't think I was crazy anymore. So the conclusion they came up with was irritable bowel syndrome and mild acid reflux. The doctor who classified me as irritable bowel syndrome told me that's what they tell people when they have no fucking clue. Yeah, that's basically what I looked like most days, actually, even while trying to restrict what I was eating. Through college, by the way, yeah. So the solution, various acid reducers, each one made me sicker than the last. Till one day I took my pills and I got up front to go to one of my classes and I blacked out. Bashed my head, gave myself a minor concussion, and decided that I was done being their guinea pig. And I was just gonna fix it myself or deal with it in any way I could. And I was done with doctors and done with medications. And then I met Max. And Max was like, hey, I know a lot about metabolism and I know a lot about health. Let's try to fix this. With his help, I actually quantified how much I was eating in a given day. I was eating about 1,000 calories, if I was lucky. And that was pretty much what I've been eating for about 8 years. So I was seriously calorie restricted and had no idea. So he really helped me with that. And I started learning a lot, and testing a lot. And at this point, I was about 25 pounds heavier than I am today. And even with his help, I only lost about 10 pounds, if that. And I was still sick pretty often, more often than not. So then I went to this personalized life extension conference that's run by Christine Peterson every year. And met some really great people like Dave Asprey. Actually, I don't think I told Dave this, but I actually read through his Bulletproof diet before I met him, and I thought it was a load of crock. But I talked to Dave, and I talked to a couple other experts actually there, as well as Dave, and they all recommended that I try taking HCl pills for low stomach acid. And he also sold me on this diet. And so I went home, and this is what I did. I set up an experiment. And I said, 4 weeks, I'm going to normalize as much as I possibly can. So I normalized my exercise, I normalized my sleep, I normalized my calorie intake. Actually, I got myself up to 1,500 calories. I was super pumped. And I kept track of everything. And after 4 weeks, I did a ton of blood work. About $500 worth of blood work. And this is about my normal day. So my ratios are about 25% protein, 50% carbs, 25% fat. That's Chronometer, by the way, a screenshot. It's where I use to do all my tracking. It's pretty handy dandy. And then I started the Bulletproof diet. I've been on it for about 2 months. And I've been, again, tracking everything. I've been keeping everything the same. I've been keeping my exercise the same, my sleep the same, my calories are about the same. So if you see here, here's my new one. Staying about 1,500 calories, but now there's 20% protein, 10% carbs, 70% fat. And mostly according to Dave's awesome diet. So I want to talk a little bit about refeed days. So I have to do carb refeeding. because I actually got my leptin tested. Well, so Dave recommends doing carb refeeds, and most people do, to kind of reset your hormones, to make your body not think it's starving, which my body's really bad at doing. But this is kind of the general level of leptin. So leptin's a hormone in your brain that kind of regulates hunger and fat oxidation. And so it dips and curves throughout the day, and when you have low leptin, you get hungry and you eat. And when you have high leptin, you don't eat. You're not hungry. I was never hungry, ever. Actually, I got my leptin tested. If you want to know how I browbeat my doctor into finally agreeing to get my leptin tested, I'll let you know about that later. But my leptin was actually supposed to be between 5 and 30. Mine was 4 after a carb refeed day. Not great. So this is my food. So if you'll notice up here, this is where I started Dave's diet. The fat just suddenly increases. All the red spikes are pretty much my high carb days. And the blank spots are where I was either on vacation or with family and didn't happen to keep track that day. But I've been keeping track, and I'm still keeping track. I have another month to go in my experiment. So this is my weight. You can see there the first weigh-in after starting Bulletproof diet. I dropped about 4 pounds in a week, which is awesome. I bounced up a little bit, but I've been steadily going down. The trend has been going down, losing about a pound a week or so. Major things I've learned thus far. I do not have high stomach acid. I have low stomach acid. If you also want to hear about how I got misdiagnosed, talk to me about that. I am allergic, not intolerant, to all these wonderful things. I took an allergy test. Because about a month into Dave's diet, I tried to bite a bagel because I was craving bagel. And I know he's shaking his head at me. I had an allergic reaction, as in my throat swelled. I had to take Benadryl. I was horribly, miserably sick. I was, excuse my French, peeing out my ass for quite some time that day, and I was miserable about it. So I got an allergy test done. And so you remember when I said I was tested for celiac disease? Yeah, they tested me for intolerance to gluten, not allergies to gluten. Smart doctors, right? Yeah. Still to come. So at the end of the 3 months, which is what I'm giving myself, which is about a month from this week, I'm going to take all my tests again. I'm going to do all the blood work again and see what comes up and see what's changed, to see how I've done. I've already lost about 10 pounds and I'm still going down, so woot woot for that. I think that's it. So if you have questions, let me know.
How do you keep yourself out of ketosis?
How do I keep myself out of ketosis?
Right.
I don't. I just kind of go with it.
So when you're in ketosis, does it affect your sleep?
No, I sleep like a rock.
Okay. Alrighty. That's good to know.
I have a question. So, and probably Dave could answer this too, but I'll pose it to you. Is the because I assume the carb refeed, is that from is that from Dave's diet?
Yes.
Okay. So how is that the same or different from Tim Ferriss's cheat day? Do you know? And if you don't, maybe Dave does.
Do you want to answer it?
I don't know. I don't know Tim Ferriss.
So Tim Ferriss says eat whatever you want on your cheat day, including gluten, including beans, which he tells you to eat the other days too, for reasons I don't understand.
Okay.
And basically says eat crap, it doesn't matter, and maybe you'll feel so bad.
Got it.
I did that a decade ago when I was working on my own weight loss. The problem with eating crap is that it takes more than a week to recover from eating crap, so the diet doesn't work.
So I don't know, did y'all hear that in the back?
Yeah, don't eat crap. I actually did that on one of my refeed days. I ate crap and I regretted it ever since.
Yeah.
I've never done it again. I eat a lot of sweet potatoes and sushi. It makes me happy.
The whole point is that once you feel really clean and you get rid of all the things that are holding you back, you feel so good that you're not incented to eat bad foods on your cheat day. You only eat the good carbs, which you saw white rice and sweet potatoes are the two that have the least problems with most people.
Yeah. Gentleman in the back?
How do you feel? Do you still have stomach pains, or is that gone?
He asked how I feel if I still have stomach pains. No, I haven't had actually a stabbing pain in a while, which is really exciting. My nausea is almost gone entirely, except when I cheat a little, and then I get it almost instantly. So I really, really need to not cheat ever. But yeah, it's pretty much gone. I haven't actually started, since I started taking the HCl pills specifically, I haven't had any stomach issues to really speak of, and it's super, super awesome. In fact, I brought the bottle with me if you guys want to see what I take. I also have my Bulletproof Diet Survival Kit. Yes.
With all the grief you went through, why would you ever be tempted to choose?
Stupidity. Honestly, social pressure. When that's why I started carrying around my own survival kit. It's a little black makeup bag, that and it has sea salt, it has MCT oil, it has stevia that I use instead of sugar. It has my charcoal pills that I use in case I'm eating something that I think is toxic, my HCl pills. It also has a licorice tablet that I take in case I get an upset stomach, which I haven't had to take yet.
So as a follow-up, are you saying that because you're in a social environment, that was the...
We have, okay, the times that I cheat is because we have a decompression day that's all wine and cheeses at my work. And so, like, I had a piece of cheese and it made me horribly, horribly sick. Partially because I'm also allergic to it. So yeah, that's just my own fault, and it's me being stupid, and I really should have stopped doing that, and I probably will. Alexis.
How did you determine how much HCl to take with any given meal?
She asked how much HCl I took in a given meal. I started with 1 and worked up until I felt like I was getting kind of a little bit of acid reflux, almost heartburn. I take 650 milligram pills, and I got up to 5, I think, at once, and now I'm down to 1, hardly ever, and I actually attribute that to drinking butter every morning in my coffee, because it has the butyric acid in it, which will raise my stomach acid.
Speaking of confounders, you've done many major changes at the same time. Do you have any idea? I mean, when you go bulletproof, then you increase caloric intake a little bit, you increase fat consumption by a lot, and you remove toxins big time.
Okay.
So do you have any idea which component?
Okay, so he's asking about the compounding factor. So I try to keep as much steady as possible. My calorie intake is actually incredibly similar to before I started the Bulletproof. I did the 4 weeks of normalization. That bumped me up to about 1,500 calories a day. So my calorie intake is actually the same as the macro ratios that have really changed big time. Also, the allergens and the HCl are my big compounding factors that I was really worried about with the study, because I wasn't planning on finding those things out before I started this. So that's another reason why I was going to get my blood tested early, so I could bring those results with me here. But because of those factors, I wanted to let it go longer and see how I behaved after kind of adjusting for those, the HCl pills and the allergens. But still, even those are pretty big compounding factors. In that I try to keep everything as steady as I could, but when you're dealing with diet and lifestyle, essentially because it's your entire lifestyle you're working on, right? It's really hard not to have more than one variable. But I tried.
What is HDL or HGL or whatever?
HCl, hydrochloric acid. Yeah, it increases your stomach acid. Yes.
So what's your typical meal like on the Bulletproof diet?
My day or my meal?
Your meals, like what do you have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner usually?
Okay, so my breakfast is usually coffee with butter, although now I've switched to ghee because I'm allergic to casein proteins, which isn't butter. So I have ghee with about a tablespoon of MCT oil in it and a little bit of stevia. For lunch, sometimes I'll have a salad with sushi on it, plus a cup of tea with fat in it, like coconut oil. I'll eat almonds. I have this great thing for dinner that's amazing. So I also have salads with like grass-fed beef or antelope on it. But my favorite thing is this, I get like coconut milk and I blend it with frozen berries. And I put a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of stevia, and a little bit of MCT oil. And a little bit, sometimes flaxseed. But it's this awesome like shake. And sometimes I'll put whey protein in it too if I'm low on protein for the day. And it's amazing. It tastes like heaven. And I actually tested my blood glucose after eating it. And my blood glucose never got over 100 ever after that meal. And it was fantastic. It made my life better. Behind, yes, the woman.
Yes, I'm Lauren.
Yeah.
Sorry, question, but do you know your haplotype or what's your ethnic origin? What's your?
Oh, I'm white. Can you tell? I'm mostly Slovenian, actually. So mostly that. I'm a little bit German, but Slovenian, Slovakian, German, that area. Yes.
What was the problem with your doctors in terms of having to do a leptin test? And also, what's MCT oil?
MCT oil is medium chain triglycerides, so that's what he asked what MCT oil was. It's a type of fat that's easily broken down. It's nice.
It's C8 and C10 linked saturated fats, at least the stuff you're using, which is capric and caprylic triglyceride. It's about 15% of coconut oil.
Yeah. It kind of tastes crummy, but when you mix it with berries, it doesn't matter. The other question that he asked about was the leptin test. So I went in, I read about some leptin tests that were going on, some basically articles that Max and I had read. Max brought up to my attention, actually. And so I went to my doctor and I said, you know, leptin really helps in losing weight. I'm really concerned about leptin. Can we get my leptin tested? And he goes, what's leptin? And I'm like, oh God, really? And so I had to describe to him what leptin was. And he goes, okay, that's really not my field. How about we send you to an endocrinologist? So I went to the endocrinologist, and the endocrinologist goes, Leptin, that's a hormone, right? Yeah. And he goes, why would you want to know about that? That's only being done in like mice. And I'm like, so I brought all these papers where there's human studies going on, and it's been in the clinic. And oh look, it's a precursor to insulin resistance as leptin resistance. And like we're talking about this, and he goes, oh. I'm like, well, I want to get mine tested. Is that okay? He goes, no, we don't have a test for that. And I said, okay, that's great, but I still want to get it tested. If I find it online and I send the link to you, will you recommend it because it needs to be doctor recommended? And he goes, no, I really don't think that's a great idea. I want to know how to treat you. And I'm like, okay, well, I came to you because I thought you were supposed to be creative. And you know, if you don't want to use knowledge ahead of time and really like get data, I mean, like think about it. In 10 years from now, when leptin is like the new thing, you can be like, I tested someone 10 years ago. And he was like, I am creative. And I was like, great. So if I send you that link, you'll totally approve it, right? And he was like, yes. And so I actually ended up not needing him. I did send him the link just so he knew about it, but I actually found Private MD Labs was able to get it for me. It was about $70. And I have to stop. I'm sorry. You can find me later.
Thank you so much, Lisa.